Good morning. I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for streaming with us. In today's update, nationwide coronavirus cases are now over 25 million as concerns grow over new variants from overseas. The U.S. is restricting travel from South Africa, banning most non-U.S. citizens who've recently traveled to the country from entering the states. Travel bans for Brazil, the U.K., Ireland, and 26 other countries across Europe are also reinstated. The U.K. variant has already been reported in at least 22 states. Scientists say it's likely more contagious than the original strain and possibly more deadly. Meanwhile, the CDC says nearly 22 million vaccine doses have been administered so far and more than 41 million doses distributed. But some states are temporarily canceling appointments, saying they don't have enough supply in stock. Johnson & Johnson is expecting their vaccine's phase 3 results within the next 2 weeks, which means the FDA could issue emergency use authorization by mid-February. President Biden will issue 2 executive orders today. One will end the ban on transgender Americans serving in the military. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin voiced his support for the move during his confirmation hearing last week. The other order aims to increase the amount of federal spending going to American companies by closing loopholes in federal government spending on foreign products. House impeachment managers are set to present an article of impeachment against former President Trump to the Senate today. Senators who will act as jurors will be sworn in tomorrow, but the trial is not expected to begin until February 8th. Law enforcement officials are also looking into threats against Congress members ahead of the impeachment trial. 7,000 National Guard members will remain in Washington through mid-March. And ABC News political director Rick Klein joins me now to unpack it all. Rick, how do you expect this impeachment trial to play out?
Yeah, Diane, we have a little bit of a break, which gives Joe Biden a chance to start enacting some of his agenda. But when it begins in the Senate, everyone kind of knows what the evidence is, and it'll be presented. A lot of it is on videotape, and a lot of it, of course, involves witnesses who are themselves members of Congress. The intriguing thing will be how many Republicans support it. There's only a small handful who've indicated an openness to supporting impeachment. The presumption is that most will not support it. A little wrinkle just this morning, though, is that Senator Rob Portman, a Republican from Ohio, is one of the more moderate Republicans, sometimes clashed with President Trump, has announced his retirement. That is going to put a lot more pressure on him to potentially be a vote in favor of impeachment and barring President Trump from holding office, and is going to just ignite a new little fire inside the Republican Party over who should be the successor in states like that. We're seeing it already begin to play out in primaries. Senators feeling a lot of pressure on this looming impeachment vote.
And do Democrats risk losing Republican support for things like COVID relief or immigration reform by pushing ahead with the impeachment trial?
Yeah, I mean, they've given themselves no choice at this point. And I think from Democrats' perspective, they say that there needs to be accountability. The process was such that they voted while he was still president. But there's a number of Republicans who may, perhaps forthrightly, perhaps disingenuously, saying now that impeachment and an impeachment trial is divisive and it cuts against the themes of unity that we heard just last week from Joe Biden. Again, whether they're being sincere or not, it's certainly something that some Republicans are going to cite. There's no question that having this trial of a former president, which has never happened before, is going to ignite some partisan passions, will further some of the divides. But again, from the Democrats' perspective, someone has to be held accountable for his actions. And in this case, it's President Trump, who the House has already impeached with a bipartisan vote.
And Dominion Voting Systems is suing President Trump's personal attorney, former President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, for defamation, seeking more than $1 billion. Now, the company says Giuliani and his allies deceived millions of people into believing Dominion had stolen their votes and fixed the election. So what exactly is Giuliani up against here?
Well, they're up against a large corporation that has a vested interest in seeing that there's justice served and that people who spread lies, misinformation are held to account in a major way. We already know there's a push to disbar Rudy Giuliani, but Dominion has been the subject of a series of bizarre, meandering conspiracy theories involving Hugo Chavez and Venezuela. No basis in reality. Some news organizations that spread some of this misinformation have issued full retractions, full on-air apologies apologies. Rudy Giuliani has not backed down, though. He continues to maintain in the platforms that he's given, including on his radio show, that he has evidence and that he was right in what he said. Dominion, one point they make is that a lot of the things that Rudy Giuliani said that were false about their company, he didn't say them in court. He said them publicly because, in their view, he knew that they wouldn't stand up in court, that they'd be slapped down by a judge. But this is an interesting test case of misinformation, disinformation, and political lies to see how Rudy Giuliani responds to this and if there's some kind of a major legal settlement involving Dominion.
And speaking of cases, Rick, the Supreme Court today dismissed a case over whether former President Trump violated the emoluments clause by illegally profiting off of his presidency. What exactly was this lawsuit alleging, and why was it thrown out?
Yeah, this is one of those other constitutional areas where we became experts. Emoluments is kind of a fancy, centuries-old way of saying profiting, making money off of just some kind of a favor. And there are two emoluments clauses in the Constitution that are roughly similar, but basically they say that a president can't profit from either federal or state government entities or from foreign entities while he's in office. Now, President Trump said many times that he was going to put his business interests in a blind trust. In fact, that never happened, and he always retained a business interest. He had a very high-profile property right here in D.C. that got a lot of business from foreign entities as well as from state governments over time. And in this case, you had some of the local state governments like D.C. and Maryland saying, we want to test this. Now, by tossing it out, it's basically the Supreme Court saying they don't want to touch this very political issue in a highly charged partisan time. They're saying it's moot because the president's no longer in office. From the perspective of the plaintiffs, they wanted resolution on this, but they're hoping that at least there's a precedent set about how seriously courts will take the emoluments clause. Some people thought this was going to be a pretty easy case against the president if it pursued. Now it's going to end as the Trump presidency ended a week ago. And
Rick, it's early days, but the ABC News Ipsos poll shows high approval ratings for President Biden so far, both for his response to the coronavirus and confidence in his ability to unify the country. Can he translate that into support for policy wins?
Yeah, this is fascinating because there is broad support for the themes that he put out, upwards of 70% plus support for the concept of unity. A lot of folks, we played even during this poll a clip of his inaugural address, and people generally across party lines thought it was genuine. But the catch comes when you start to get into some policy areas. And when you look specifically at some areas that impact immigration, like the Muslim ban, the border wall, that's where partisanship comes back. And it comes back pretty quickly and pretty fiercely. And those are the limits that you come up against. It's one thing to have people buy into this generic notion of bipartisanship and unity. It's another thing to say, okay, here are some specific areas. The president had conversations with a bipartisan group of lawmakers over the weekend. Doesn't appear that he's got a broad agreement on his COVID deals. So look, the reality is that Washington is a polarized place, and that didn't change from last week.
All right, Rick Klein, our political director. Always great to have you, Rick. Thank you. And the Miami Heat is announcing a new effort to fight the spread of coronavirus while still hosting live events. The team will start allowing a limited number of fans to attend games later this week with the help of coronavirus-sniffing dogs. Victor Oquendo has more on that.
This morning, an NBA team's new experimental defense against the coronavirus. COVID-19 detection dogs, similar to the canines on patrol at airports around the world. Later this week, the Miami Heat will station specially trained dogs at entrances to the American Airlines Arena to try to sniff out the virus that causes COVID-19. Here's the plan. Dogs will sniff fans before entering by walking past them. If the dog sits, that signals they may have detected COVID-19, and that fan will be asked to leave along with their group and given a full refund.
It's really, really interesting. Dogs are amazing creatures, and their noses are way more powerful than ours.
Medical specialists point out that research done in this area is exciting but preliminary. No study has been scrutinized by peer review or tried in a public place like the arena where the Heat play, and the FDA has not signed off on this method of screening. Dogs have been used to sniff out possible bombs. Some have even detected early stages of ovarian cancer. They have up to 300 million smell receptors, while humans only have about 6 million, making dogs uniquely equipped to detect scents humans can't.
What we're trying to do is find if there is an odor, a volatile organic compound, basically, that is telling us that there is a difference. What we're hoping is that the dogs can figure that out.
But infectious disease experts warn that a traditional COVID test is more reliable and are concerned that these dogs could give people false comfort.
adding innovative tools like dog sniffing, of course, is really exciting, but it shouldn't give this false sense of security. And truthfully, we should be still relying on widespread testing to fully get this pandemic under control.
The Miami Heat will have some rapid tests on hand for people who are either allergic to or afraid of dogs. Most importantly, though, all other COVID protocols remain in place. There's a limited number of fans to ensure social distancing. Everyone will have to wear a mask at all times. These dogs are just an added layer. Diane?
All right, we'll take all the security we can get. Victor Kendo, thank you. And Dance Mom star JOJO SIWA says she has never been happier after coming out to her millions of fans over the weekend. Many are calling her announcement incredibly meaningful. Will Reeve has more.
I am really happy.
That's teen sensation JOJO SIWA, radiating joy after sharing her truth. She's part of the LGBTQ community.
You guys probably haven't seen me this happy since I was on tour.
SIWA, a singer, actor, and YouTube superstar, isn't putting a specific label on her sexual orientation. She's gotten support from her parents and gay celebrities like Lil Nas X and Ellen DeGeneres.
Right now, I'm super duper happy, and I want to share everything with the world. I really do, but I also want to keep things in my life private until they're ready to be public. Right now, what matters is that you guys know that no matter who you love, that it's okay and that it's awesome and that the world is there for you.
Love yourself today, 'cause baby, you were
Speculation swirled when the 17-year-old posted this TikTok dancing to Born This Way, Lady Gaga's iconic anthem of self-empowerment. SIWA's video, her most popular ever, getting millions of views. And this picture she tweeted providing further proof.
Say hi, girls. Hi, everyone.
SIWA first got attention as part of the popular Dance Moms series.
Do you think I could replace Chloe?
Her effervescent personality and her big bows made her a phenomenon. She's sold out stadiums on national tours, appeared on game shows, and released her own music. Her YouTube page alone attracting 12 million subscribers. SIWA is aware of her massive platform. This weekend, she retweeted messages about the example she sets and the role model many young LGBTQ people will see her as. GLAAD President Sarah Kate Ellis said SIWA's story is a reminder for LGBTQ youth to love who they are and to find safe and welcoming environments to speak out. The support for JOJO continues to roll in, including from her former instructor and star of Dance Moms, Abby Lee Miller, who posted on Instagram, quote, "I always knew the world would be a more colorful, positive, sparkly place with a kind, loving, dazzling triple threat like you in it. A shining example for the kids out there to live their best lives each and every day." Diane?
Great message. I think we can all get behind. Will Reeve, thank you. And that does it for this ABC News Live update. I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for joining us. And remember, ABC News Live is here for you all day with the latest news, context, and analysis. I'll see you back here at 3 p.m. Eastern with Terry Moran for The Breakdown.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.